Welcome to Leaders Lead Podcast. Are you ready to conquer your challenges and achieve greatness? Join us as we dive into inspirational stories of industry leaders who have overcome adversity and reached new heights. Get ready for electrifying insights and captivating conversations that will ignite your passions for success. This is your go-to show for empowerment, growth, and leadership. Buckle up. Leaders Lead Podcast is here to take you on a transformational ride.
We'll jump back into your episode in a minute, but first let me ask you something. Are you great at what you do, but it still feels like no one really sees you as the go-to expert in your space? You're showing up, maybe putting out content, speaking on a few podcasts, but the visibility, the growth, the income, it still feels out of reach. That's exactly why I created the Experts Blueprint. It's a step-by-step system that I use to help coaches, consultants, and purpose-driven experts finally get visible, grow your loyal audience, and turn their message into income. Inside, I'll show you how to craft your story so people actually remember it, build a platform that works for you 24/7, and create content that builds trust and moves people into action. If you're ready to stop being overlooked and start getting the recognition, the results that you deserve, join the waitlist by emailing me at info@tonytaylorinspires.com. Let's build something real. Let's get you seen. Welcome back to your episode.
Hey, welcome to Leaders Lead the Podcast. I am super excited. I say that every single episode, but I'm really excited. I have one of my favorite entrepreneurs of all time on the show. This is such a treat. Thank you for joining me on Leaders Lead the Podcast, Tim.
Oh, you're so nice to have me, Tony. Thank you. It's a great podcast, and I hope this helps you.
I know it's going to help me. I know it's going to help our listeners and our viewers. This is such a treat, man. I was just telling you, I was reading your book, and one thing that I wanted to make sure that I got on tape was I was listening to your book, and this is gonna sound weird, but I was actually listening to it in the shower because I had my earpiece on, and I'm just laughing, man. I was laughing at the story of you crossing out your bucket list, and you taking a picture in front of a doggone was it a Cape buffalo?
Oh God!
And you almost got your kids killed.
Oh, everybody almost got killed. That was really bad. Yeah, good. Hey, good for you. Right? You actually did read the book. When you write a book, you think everybody's going to read it, and you're going to have all these comments right off the bat. 4 or 5 years later, all of a sudden everybody's read it, and you're going, wait, you don't even remember writing it all. I remember doing it. I remember being a part of the Cape Buffalo experience, but I forgot that was even a part of it. That's fun.
You actually have a buffalo head on your wall. I read that I heard, and it was to remind you of something.
That life is fleeting.
Yeah,
that buffalo head. Where is that buffalo head? Because it was in my office on Sand Hill, and then I moved to San Mateo, and I have the feeling that my assistant may have gotten rid of my buffalo head. I'm not sure. That was an important part of my decor. But yeah, life is fleeting, and so you got to make the most of it. And people say, well, why are you still working? Why aren't you just sitting on an island somewhere? The great thing about a capitalist society is that you are, whenever you create something, it can help tons and tons of people. So like, I didn't have anything to do with Amazon, but Jeff Bezos has created something so that if I need a toothbrush, I can get the thing to show up in 4 hours. And that wouldn't, getting a toothbrush before, I don't know, hardware store, I don't know where I'd get it. And I mean, anybody who's benefited from Amazon should sort of go, hey, thanks, Jeff. That was great. So I always feel like I want to be helpful. I want to be out there. I want to be doing important things for people because, hey, I've been able to see some of the impacts that some of the companies that I've backed have had. We backed Hotmail, and so now, before that, by the way, people couldn't send emails to each other for free. That just didn't exist. They were the first free email service in the world, and if I hadn't backed Skype, you and I would not be seeing each other or talking to each other on this call. And there wouldn't be podcasts. And if I hadn't backed Tesla, I'd still be operating a vehicle that was running on combustion engine. And if they hadn't come, Henry Ford hadn't shown up, I'd be on a horse. So I think we're all better off from all these entrepreneurs doing all this great stuff. And so that just keeps giving me more encouragement to do more, to just keep doing more, because eventually that might have an impact on somebody down the road. And if I'm alive long enough, I'll be able to see it.
I'm sure you're seeing it right now. I mean, I Googled you and I looked at like your Twitter and some of the comments where people are like, oh man, if it wasn't for Tim, my life wouldn't be the way that it is. So, I mean, you have great impact. I see it. Do you have like a self-fulfillment in that right now, as far as knowing the impact that you've done like right now on this earth? Or do you feel like that you need to make an even bigger impact?
Well, I think there's a lot more to do. But it is nice to see like Draper University students go out and create unicorns. We got 5 of those so far. And there are about 25 who have gotten to be worth $100 million or more. It's nice to see that. It's fun to have people say, I didn't realize I learned something from watching Meet the Drapers. And, I come back and I go, oh, what'd you learn? I thought I was just entertaining people. And then, of course, some of our ventures that have taken off and made a big impact on the world. Sometimes people come up to me and go, God, that service is fantastic. Or that was, or I was some of them were employees of the company that I backed and they benefited in some way. So that is good to hear. And I guess it just keeps giving me more inspiration to just keep working. And it drives me forward. It's funny when you're getting started, you're thinking, oh, let me build a big fortune so I can, do whatever I want. Turns out you build a big fortune, you want to just keep putting it to work. It's a full-time job, keeping it going, driving it, putting it in good places that help more entrepreneurs or help businesses do better things or whatever it is, or have businesses grow so that they can affect more people. So it's a different attitude that you get if you've made a bunch of money.
Yeah.
You kind of think, oh no, I have the responsibility not just now of doing stuff for other people, but I also have this responsibility of putting that money to the best use I can.
That's interesting. That makes me think about when I first started my entrepreneur journey. I've been an entrepreneur the last 6 years. And in the beginning, I was still kind of riding off of my corporate salary, the stuff that I had in the bank. And I wasn't necessarily thinking about, okay, what's gonna make money. I was just giving, making content. And then my wife came to me one day and said, honey, we're broke. and then I had to start thinking like a capitalist and thinking about the things that I can do to make money. And it seems like once I started thinking that way, it was almost like, okay, now you have a business. And one of the things that I was going to ask you was, like, I read, stuff about Hotmail, Tesla, and all of these like new things that you've done, that you've created. How do you, like, when you're first starting, like, what is the first step? What is the first step? Because me, and I'll tell you why I'm asking that. What I did was I took the skills that I have, right? And that's in public speaking and podcasting. I was able to build my public speaking career off of my podcast, which blew up. And I didn't necessarily mean for it to blow up, but I'm teaching other people how to do it. But there's something inside of me that's saying, more. What else can I do? What's more? And it literally keeps me up at night. And I'm confused. I'll be really honest.
I think that's completely normal. I think it's fantastic that things are keeping you up at night. That's a part of the excitement of being an entrepreneur. And you do have to kind of keep thinking, what's more? What else can I do for my customer? I think that is really, that's both, all of the best entrepreneurs I've met came to me and they said, I want to delight my customer. And they always had that in their mind. They always wanted to delight their customer. And and even the guy who created Tibco, I didn't back him, but he's a good friend of mine now, Vivek Ranadive. And Vivek, I asked him, well, what's your secret to success? I was on stage with him or something. And he said, oh, I just keep improving our product.
Mm.
And I just kept improving it and just got better and better and better. And so having that love for the customer and that need to improve the product. Now, you got to be a capitalist. You have to make money. And part of the making money is it's a customer will pay for this. If they won't pay, I'm not sure, you can't be really sure that you're doing any great service for them. And if they do pay, you should feel good about that, because they are showing you that they are willing to pay, and they are benefiting from your service, and showing that they are willing to pay for your service. So it's a willingness. It's a good thing, though, if you're starting a business, to start by giving something away for free. You want to build that. Distribution is everything, and you've got to build that distribution. And sometimes you have to do that by giving it away for free, and then you start figuring out how to incrementally charge for the service, and that's when you know you've really got a business. So it's and also always have it in your mind that you want to help people. I think that's what George H.W. said. He said, somebody asked him, how you became president, how'd you get here? He said, I just always wanted to help people. And it was like, seemed simple to him. And so if you just think always in terms of helping other people, you never worry about yourself. Somehow that takes care of itself. You worry more about helping other people. And I think it's a healthier way to live. I think emotionally healthier. I think you feel better about yourself. The people who I have noticed have had a lot of trouble are the ones who end up focusing inward. And they get kind of caught up in that. Also, people my age who end up being the drug addicts and the drunks are usually the ones who stopped working or never found something where they felt like they were helping anybody. So I think
That's the
just
secret.
having it in your head that I'm going to help somebody else ends up really working.
That's the secret. I love that. I was curious, what was the hardest challenge that you've faced as an entrepreneur, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I borrowed money from the government to get started. It was an SBIC loan. And after about 3 years, that's the J curve of venture capital. Things don't look good after 3 years. I was on their watch list, and then I was on their dirt list, and they were about to call my loan. And I said, no. I had to fly back to Washington. I had to, convince these guys that, hey, this is going to work out. Just hang in there with me. This is, we're going to get the taxpayer their money back. It's going to work out fine, and I wasn't sure. And I kind of was confident, but I wasn't sure. And they hung in there for another year and a half or so. And then we were able to, the IPO window opened up and we were able to pay it all back. And they were shocked. And then I went from being on their dirt list to Venture Capitalist of the Year. And they had my picture on the wall as Venture Capitalist of the Year. So, your fortune cannot look, it can be the darkest before the dawn, but it can pick up. You never quite know what that, what's in store for you, but you do know that when things are really tough, they can get tougher, but that there may be something around the corner that's coming. You just have to hang in there. In some cases, though, it's better not to hang in it. Better to pivot.
Yeah.
In fact, all of the biggest companies in the world that I've backed came into me with one idea, and then they pivoted.
How do you know? What are some indicators that will show you to pivot? And the reason why I'm asking you this is because when I first started helping public speakers, I wanted to help people that were introverts, and I ended up pivoting so much off of that niche of introverts because I felt like, well, I'm an introvert. So before I say this, I don't want the podcast listeners to come at me, but I felt like I was doing like a whole bunch of lifting, and as far as begging them to do their lessons, begging them to go on to speaking engagements, and I pivoted to just public speaking in general and teaching folks how to build podcasts. Did I miss a step there as far as pivoting, or do you think that was the right move?
Well, if it works, it's the right move, I think. I think if you see that people are starting to be attracted to what you're offering, it's the right move. There were a lot of introverts that really had a rise during the pandemic because they were perfectly happy sitting in their homes and not talking to anybody, keeping 6 feet away. But that is probably no longer the case. In fact, I know introverts are becoming more extroverted because they realize that wasn't so great to be stuck there. And we're all a part of something that's all woven together, this big, economic system that we've got where we're all tied to each other. If I had to get myself some milk, I wouldn't know how to raise a cow. I wouldn't know how to milk the cow. I wouldn't know how to put it into a bottle or pasteurize it or do whatever they do.
I certainly could see you trying.
There are a lot of things that other people do that make my life better. And that's true of all of us. We're all better off for having all the rest of us helping each other. And so you now helping other people become better podcasters and better public speakers, you have found something that people wanted, and they are willing to be a part of it, watch it, see advertisements around it, whatever it is. And that generates real value. And I think everybody benefits from the work you do. So way to go.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. Because to be honest, I felt bad about it. It was almost like I was betraying the people that I cared about the most.
Well, it turns out that if they're not paying you for it and you're not making a living out of it, it is probably not doing as much for them as you thought it was. And for you to leave them, it's probably not as big a crash as you thought it was.
Yeah.
So I think you may be better off doing what you're doing.
No, I agree. Thank you for affirming that for me. I was going to ask you, I read in your book that you were on the deal. You're on the deal and you split your pants from the back of your pants all the way to your belt. And I was just laughing. I was just like, man, what kind of guy is this that would put it in a book? And I was wondering, do you think that embracing those kinds of human moments has played a role in your success? And do you think humility is an unvalued trait when it comes to leadership?
I think you may be onto something there, because if you're willing to be a little embarrassed, you're willing to go beg for money, you're willing to go encourage people to work with you, you're willing to sort of be the salesperson. My grandfather said to my dad, and my dad said to me, it doesn't matter who's buying and who's selling, it's the personal connection that matters. And I have found that is true. And so it does, by going ahead and telling people, these embarrassing moments, it allows them to open up too. And then you end up having a more open relationship, and a more open relationship brings probably better business dealings. And now I do realize that I am not the first person who was a few years out of college and no longer fit into their college pants.
And you wouldn't have known that if you wouldn't have known that you wouldn't have been so open in saying that.
It's fun to, what my dad used to say is, like, when things get really, really tough, think of how great a story it'll be later.
That's incredible. I remember that makes me think about when I was in Marine Corps boot camp, and I'll tell you, I went to boot camp just so that I could be able to provide for my baby girl that was coming. I was so excited about it, and I needed a way out. And Marine Corps boot camp, out of all things, one of the hardest things to go through in the world, I chose to do it. But I didn't think it all the way through. When it came to the swimming part, I didn't know how to swim at all. And for days, I had been just sinking to the bottom for days. And then the last day on swim call, what I did was I was just like, oh man, this is do or die right here. So I went to the bathroom. I peeked out of the bathroom. And then once I saw everybody getting in the line of the people that completed, I just slipped right on behind everybody. And I've had swim call just like that. And I shared that with a bunch of Marines years later. And you'd be surprised that I wasn't the only one that not just swim qual, but rifle range and all kinds of stuff.
Oh,
and
the guys, can you swim now?
Yeah, actually, I can. I'm a little reluctant by it. When I was a kid, I had a near drowning accident. And so it was one of those things psychologically that kind of played at me. But when I went to Japan, one of my good friends, Chad Collins, he we had swim qual coming up, and we went to the pool for probably 2 months, and he freaking taught me how to swim. Thank God to him.
Great.
But yeah, I was just
That's
like,
so
oh
funny.
my God. But
just slip in behind him in the line. Oh, hey, I'll swim.
and that's what it was, man. I was like so excited, but I was actually proud of myself. I was just like, you know what? I didn't swim, and I didn't pass it, but I figured out how to pass it. And telling that story now, 20 years later, it feels so much different than back then, because then there was like so much shame. And that I thought about that, like, as you would have been sitting in that restaurant, or wherever you're sitting there with your pan split, just thinking like, I want this to be fucking over.
Marines are fantastic. They've been fabulous for Draper University. We have survival training there. And a lot of the people who are helping us out are Marines, and they are fantastic. We have Navy SEALs. But the Marines, there's something great about you guys. So way to go.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that you all did all of that. I was going to ask you a question. I was going to save that a little bit for later in the interview, but I'll ask you now. I had somebody come on the show before, and I told him, he's like, yeah, I told him I got this curriculum for public speaking and charisma and podcasting. And he was like, no. He goes, that's not where it's at. Where it's at is actually having the container for that stuff. He's like, you're wasting your time making actual content to teach people. And I know that you have Draper University. Did you see that in the beginning where it didn't get any traction, or what kind of advice did you have for content or course creators to actually get traction on it?
Right. There was very little traction. We gave it away for free the first time. And that helped.
Okay.
But still, people had to dedicate at that time 8 weeks of their life to it. And so it had to matter to them. But since you're talking about public speaking, I've got a really good exercise we do at Draper University. I gotta let you know.
Okay.
Here's what it is. We did this. It was out of necessity, but we had one class that was 90% men, something like that. Maybe even more, maybe 95% men, 5% women. And I thought, God, this is a tough class. It's just like everything seemed a little bit raunchy.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I think we need more women in this class. And so we brought in, I had my daughter's friend was at a sorority at a local university of Santa Clara. And I asked her, hey, look, can you bring 50 girls over here? So she brings over 50 girls. And you have about 100 guys. And so we had these teams of everything at Draper University is team-based, because team-based learning is much more effective. Turns out people learn much more if they don't want to disappoint their team than they do if they're just worried about their own grade. So team-based makes a big difference. Anyway, so we broke them into all their teams, and then we brought and put 2 girls on each of the teams. So everybody's kind of, oh, okay, now I got to up my game. And we said, okay, your team is make 7 slides on, solving poverty in the world. Okay, your team, 7 slides on better energy sources. Your team, 7 slides on better education. Your team, 7 slides on whatever. So they're all getting ready to do their presentation. I said, there's 7 of you, 7 slides, whatever. And they all do their 7 slides. And then I go, okay, team A, you do team B's slide. Team B, you do team C's slides. So they have to get up in front of the audience.
Oh my God.
And they have a slide they've never seen before. and they have to present that slide. Now it got horrible it got ridiculous over time, but at the beginning it really worked. But what happened was some of the teams, knowing that the other team was going to have to do their slides, they changed their slides. So they were all joking with each other. But it was so great, and everybody felt much better about getting up in front of an audience, knowing that basically they were expected to fail. So there was something about like being willing to and expected to fail, that if no matter what you said, it was going to be better than nothing. I thought it was probably one of the best exercises we did.
Wow. I'm curious, what made you start Draper University?
Somebody told me, or a lot of very wise venture capitalists said entrepreneurship can't be taught. And whenever I hear something can't be done, I think, how would I do that? How would we create an entrepreneur from an ordinary person? And so I went through a process, and I knew that an entrepreneur had to be fearless. They had to be willing to do whatever it took. They had to be emotionally stable enough to take it when everybody's saying that they're wrong. And so those were the things I worked on. I didn't train people on, what Steve Jobs did. I did it in a very different way. I went after accelerating. Some people call it a human accelerator. It seems to have worked. We've had 6,000 students through, and we've had 5 unicorns started at Draper University.
Wow.
And 25 companies that have gotten to be worth $100 million or more. And we have students that have come from 102 different countries. And they have, I guess our 6,000 students have started about 1,500 companies.
That's incredible.
Average student creates 7 jobs. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really proud of the work that you're doing at Draper.
I'm proud of the work that my team has done at Draper. I got it going, and I created the curriculum, and I ran the first 2 or 3 sessions, but after that, I got a good team in place. Some of them had been through the program, and I got them to run it, and they've done a great job.
That's incredible. Is Draper, is it a in-resident program? Is a program?
Yeah, you live there. Yeah.
Wow, and that's for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow. So what's the future? Because I know you have an incredible ecosystem at Draper. How do you see it evolving?
We've actually created that ecosystem around the school, the show, Meet the Drapers. We have a TV network now called Draper TV. And then our network of entrepreneurs, of startup houses around the world that include other venture capitalists and other entrepreneurs, and just a very large network of entrepreneurship. And I think the ecosystem is in place to make a big impact on my venture business and on the world, just because we'll probably find better companies, more unique companies. They come from everywhere. Great companies have come from everywhere. There are 19. We funded Skype, and they were the first, but there are now 19 unicorns that have come from Estonia.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Estonia is one of the companies that you backed, right?
Estonia is a country in Northern Europe that only has 1.4 million people. And now they have virtual residents. They have 500,000 virtual residents. They have and the whole thing is digitized. They digitize voting, digitize identity, digitize all sorts of things. So the country has been transformed by digitization, and that country now has 19 unicorns.
That is incredible. And I know you got to go here soon. I was curious, what do you personally look for in entrepreneurs to invest in them?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an ongoing argument amongst venture capitalists as to whether it's the market, the technology, or the people. And I think it's some combination of the three. So in the market part, it's is this a market that has gotten lazy and is controlled by a monopoly or oligopoly, like 4 or 5 companies that are making all the decisions? And are they providing a bad service at a high cost? Okay. So you look, what markets are like that? Big pharma, bulge bracket banks, the big 3 accounting firms, government, car companies before Tesla. Anyway, these industries that have not been challenged for a long time, and usually that long time is like 20 to 50 years, where the providers are not doing a good service or not providing a strong service to their users for the cost. Those are usually opportunities because those guys are making big margins, and there's room for somebody to come in with something. So then the next thing is technology, and you watch different technologies come along. When the internet came, it one by one started transforming different industries. So you were able to see the communications world transformed, the library, mail, the library, the phone, the taxi, the hotel. They were all transformed by the internet. Well, now then there was another technology that came along. It was Bitcoin, transformed the banking, the commerce, the retail. Eventually, it's going to transform a bunch of different financial industries. And now you're seeing AI, and it's coming and it's transforming the legal profession, the scientific world, and then it's going to start transforming robots. So so those are 2 things. And then the third thing is the people, which my dad would say was the first thing and the one that matters. And the people have to really be dedicated to what they're doing. And they have to have the only way I can describe it is a quiet confidence that it's going to work. Something inside them that's going to work. Now, they don't have to be quiet people. They can be loud. They can be quiet. They can be enthusiastic. They can be level-headed. They can be whatever. They can't be pessimistic. They have to be optimistic.
Yeah.
But they have to have this quiet confidence, like, I know this is going to work. And they've got to have this way of having people attracted to them. Like, somehow that quiet confidence gets people going. Elon says, we're going to Mars. Like 95% of the people think, oh, he's crazy. And then within the 5% are the best engineers in the world. And that's what they want to come join him.
Mm-hmm.
So he attracts some of the best engineers in the world to come work with him just because he says we're going to Mars. Now, he might be off by a week or a year or a decade.
Yeah.
But he'll get there.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt about it. I appreciate you spending this time with me. Like I said, this is definitely Willie Mays Stanley moment for me. I really enjoyed you and watch you from afar. And when you responded back and said that you would come on, I was so happy. I've been happy and nervous for the last 3 months. So I really appreciate you taking your time to come on the show. It's been amazing. Thank you so much.
Great. You do a great job. Thanks. It's a really wonderful show. So thank you, Tony, for having me on it.
Thank you for allowing me to travel with you on your journey. I want to say thank you for the things that you're doing, the things that you've done, and the things that you're going to do, because I know that you're going to do something truly amazing. Remember, I'm here to stand by you as you chase your dreams, lead with greatness, and continue to make a difference. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so that you can be notified every time we drop a new episode. I'll see you next time on Leaders Lead the Podcast. Peace.